Future Proof is sponsored by Learn Smart Academy, online revision courses for GCSE and A-Level. All your revision in one place, organised for you, interactive and game-changing.
Welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for joining me, Sarah Hopwood, as I conclude these two programmes looking at the art of delegation. And I'm really now talking about the process and how you can break down the overall, if you like, the delegation theme perhaps the initiative of the outcomes that you're focusing on, to break that down into bite-sized tasks so that they can be delegated. It could be that you are teaching those bite-sized tasks to the same person. So it could be that they do one on this particular case, and then the next time you've got the job to do, if you like, you then delegate another aspect of it so that you teach that way. Or it could be you get other people to complete different tasks, which then, if you like, come in and support the overall initiative that you're seeking to achieve. So there's many different reasons for delegating and different ways of doing it, but breaking it down into tasks is absolutely key. So you identify the tasks, you then decide who you are going to delegate to. You meet the people and the teams, everybody who is impacted by it, including the person you're going to delegate to. You meet them for an initial meeting. You talk about what support is going to be available. You talk about the structure of how you contact me when you need help. So it could be, look, I'm really busy, this is why I'm delegating, but I'm telling you, 4 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, Friday, my door is open to you. You just come and talk to me. So you give permission for that contact. You monitor the progress. So delegation is not abdication. You evaluate the outcomes, work out where there is training or where further learning could be done, or where perhaps more resources might be needed, and this then ties up with review and learn and then go again. So I want to talk about what is the, if you like, process. Once you've got agreement, once everybody knows what's going on, what happens. So first of all, as a team or as an individual, so it depends on whether the team is delegating or whether it's just one person delegating, write down all the tasks associated with the theme of what you're delegating. And it could be, 2 or 3 things, or it could be, I've actually got a template here of 23 points could be found. So write down all the tasks. Then next to that, opposite those tasks, write down the barriers. And in there you'll see, for example, time, lack of resources, perhaps lack of knowledge, it could be IT stuff, it could be all sorts of things, or it could even be something sociable. So a barrier could be that somebody, let's say for example, has a broken leg and has a plaster of Paris on their leg. So it could be one of the tasks is around motion, and that until the plaster's off, that is a barrier to that person achieving that aspect of the task. So it could be anything. So don't assume automatically, for example, the barriers are time every time. They're not. So really think about those barriers. Sometimes we just do auto responses, we get the wrong thing down, and then it just messes up the whole process. So think carefully. Once you have got permission in your head or what have you, or as a team, to move on tasks, and so obviously you've held on to anything that you've identified that can't be delegated at the moment, then find another piece of paper and write down the tasks again, and then write what you must retain yourself. So arguably all those tasks could appear on there. What you need to retain yourself, what perhaps can be shared, so there's some piggybacking there, or it's a bit like the business teams that we watch on television, what have you, that go out and they all kind of go off in and do their own thing and then they come back. So it's a shared task, The Apprentice, isn't it? What can be delegated, and then you name the I can't say it, delegatee, who you're going to delegate it to. So it's not always the same person. What's really key here is when you write down a list of all the tasks that need to be done, is marking those things that you need to retain, and that's where you can really offset some of the fear that you might have. And remember, fear is an acronym for false expectations appearing real. Once you've completed that column around what you must retain, you should be breathing easier, because you then feel, right, at least I know I'm hanging on to these things. Once that list is formed, can I suggest you go back and double check that there isn't, and maybe challenge yourself and say, right, I've got 8 things here that I want, 8 out of 23 things I'm retaining. Let's go and look and see if I can just give one more thing away. And it's a bit of a game, but that could really go, actually, I don't need to hang on to this, I could give it away. But it could be that you move it from retain to share. And you could see it as an opportunity to say, actually, if I don't retain it, if I share it, then either I can share it, or I know someone who knows more about this than the person I was going to delegate to. Why don't I pair them up so they can both go and do it together? So there's some shadowing and learning, but it doesn't involve you, which we know frees up your time so you can keep rainmaking or whatever else you're doing, which brings money into the business. You identify then things that you can definitely delegate that are easy, and I use the example of a secretarial pool. They are well used to having things delegated to them. So you think of that, and also think of equal opportunities when you're identifying that person. Don't just auto response to the usual person. Maybe say, okay, I normally go there. Is there somebody else I could actually give an opportunity to have a go at this? So what to delegate, and then the delegatee, who to give it to. So once you've done that, you then, and this is the vital process that I'm going to spend now just 3 minutes talking about. These are 10 steps, and I'm going to talk them through now. Make sure when you're, so you've delegated, you've worked out who's going to do what you're going to hang on to. You're now sat in the room with the person that you are delegating to, and this is the process that you're going to run with them. You clearly define the objectives, and a way to do that is to make sure they repeat back to you what those objectives are. Make sure there is an agreed deadline, date and time. Make sure there is an understanding into what format the final report is going to appear. Is it a white paper? Is it a video presentation? Is it a PowerPoint presentation? Make sure they understand that. What will the interim report dates look like? This is like benchmarking. So identify those dates, have the diary up there and say, right, so in 2 weeks, I want you to come back and tell me how you're getting on, or what have you. Just make sure it is all agreed, and remember, keep a trail. So make sure all of that is there. Guidelines, make sure there's proper guidelines, that the explanation is full in what is expected, that the preparation is done properly, that the delegatee knows how to delegate, knows how to prepare properly to take on the task, and also the knowledge sharing that is available. And therefore define the authorities, and that is then the delegatee has the task, and then this is the authority. The delegatee has to know, can they keep moving forward in this task without approval? Or can they move forward but proceed and keep me informed as you proceed? In other words, don't keep going quietly. Come back and tell me, this is how far I've got. I'm now going to do this, this and this. Or it could be that you do not move, so you do the task to so-and-so, but you cannot go any further forward until there has been approval, i.e. like a sign-off. So what is the subtask? Can they proceed without approval? Must they keep you informed, or must they obtain approval? Also make sure they've got the resources that are required and permission to ask for resources that may have been missed. Agree an access time. I gave an example, say 4 o'clock on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can come and access me anytime that you need to, just knock on my door. Are there any questions? And this is also tied up with making sure that the delegatee knows that they can ask questions, and can you give them permission to ask so-called stupid questions as well, that there are no stupid questions, and that is also tied up with permission to fail. And lastly, make sure that there is feedback to ensure there's complete understanding, and that's when you say to the delegatee, now I want you to tell me this 10-step process, and I want you to articulate each step, what happens where, and your understanding of it all, and conclude with, and that's good, you've clearly understood the process, you're giving them reward. Just say, now can you just give me a quick summary, what is the project in brief that I've given you, and just so you can hear their words, hear their understanding. And then you could even throw in a question, is what is it you feel confident about, is there anything that you're worried about? Delegation is about gaining leverage on the resources that you have and the outcomes that you want, which will directly impact on your profits. Good luck.